Michael, here it is. It's a privilege to see this watch. Okay, let's talk the numbers. It's running poorly. It has a ton of beat error. It's out of adjustment. Though not really. It actually has another problem, which I'll tell you about in a minute. It's got really low amplitude, and it's losing a ton of time. This basically just, it tells us, I'm not surprised considering what I saw before I put it on the time graphic. So, cosmetically, the movement looks great. It's shiny, it's bright, water never got inside, it has nice brightness and shine to the movement. It's got a couple of things. I don't know that you can really see this. It has a line of wear around the outside of the mainspring arbor, or it has this line of brassing around here. The lower mainspring arbor port is definitely worn, and we can see, if you look at the top of the screw up here, you can see it moving. That lower port's worn. Also, your watch, it's running so poorly because the balance is bad. You can see, if you look carefully, you can see this thing is flopping. Like, look at this little bright spot right here. See how it's going up and down and around like this? The lower pivot for the balance is bad. The staff is bad. So that's got to go. So, two things. I've seen worse, but let's talk. Okay, just give me a second. So anyway, it's not often that I get a first in, like the first of something in. And so this is a really kind of a special day. And I was super excited when you contacted me that you were wanting to send this thing in, because it's a real privilege to see one of these. And let's see how many other people get an idea of. I wish I could hear the intake of breath that we're about to hear. Oh my gosh, this thing is just ridiculous. Stop it. Okay, ready for the intake of breath, people? Those of you who know will say, "Oh my goodness, it is a Scubapro 450." The hacking works correctly. By the way, your cannon pinion feels pretty worn too. So it might be your cannon pinion, it might be your center wheel, or it could be both. This watch had a lot of miles on it, which is interesting that it shows so little wear otherwise. Cosmetically, it looks excellent. I mean, it's got a little bit of hazing on the minute hand, but that's it. The dial looks great. It's completely original. So folks, I guess sort of a history lesson. This is a 6306. Which is the Japanese-only version of the 6309. It's a 21 jewel watch versus the 6309, which is a 17 jewel watch. It has hacking, which the 6309 does not. It was only sold in Japan. Seiko went into partnership with a company called Scubapro, and I believe they sold these through Scubapro catalogs only. And these are extraordinarily collectible and extremely rare. I have never personally seen one. This is a real Scubapro 450. These things are so valuable that they are relentlessly faked. Relentlessly faked. If you ever see on eBay anything that says Scubapro on it, on the dial, a Seiko that says Scubapro, I guarantee you that it's fake. This is one of these things where you have to really know what you're talking about, really know what you're doing in order to buy one of these things, or ideally you're buying it from somebody who was the original owner. If you buy something and it says Scubapro on the dial, boy, you better be sure what you're doing, because these things are, I don't even know what it's worth. I have no idea. But it is beautiful and complete and original. This is the real deal, a Scubapro 450. I've never seen one in person before. And notice it's got some other great stuff too. It's got the 6306s tend to have the big knurled crown, which is right there. And here's a fine knurled crown as sort of a comparison. Big knurled crown, big cutaway on the case. This is a heck of a watch. Beautiful. So it's going to need movement service. It's going to need lower mainspring arbor port repair. It's going to need a balance at a minimum. And often when the balances are bad, if they've been running for a long time and they're bad, the pallet forks can be messed up too. It's going to need a case rebuild, obviously with the new seal. And you provided a crystal, so I've got that. And then after that, it should do you well. It should do you well. It's a privilege to see this. Thank you for sending it in. We'll be able to get this set up for you. Thank you.